Welcome to the Senior Safety Advice Podcast, your trusted source for expert guidance on aging safely and independently. Whether you're a caregiver, a family member, or a senior looking to stay secure at home and beyond, we've got you covered. From fall prevention and home modifications to financial safety and scam awareness, we provide practical tips to help you or your loved ones live with confidence. Tune in and empower yourself with the knowledge you need to navigate the challenges of aging. Let's make safety simple.
Hello, everyone. This is Esther Kane, your host. Thank you so much for joining us today. I have the great, honor. I have the great honor of having Michelle Passoff today, interviewing her. She is the author of Lighten Up, Free Yourself from Clutter, and she has a plethora of experiences in this field. So I'm going to let her tell you all about herself. Hey, Michelle.
Hello, how are you, Esther?
Very good. Thank you. Not bad for a Monday. Oh, I think it froze. There you are. Are you there?
Okay. Yes, I am.
Okay. So give us a little bit about your history of how you got to where you are today.
Okay, well, where I'm at is I am what's known as a clutter consultant. And I didn't start out that way. You don't start out as a kid dreaming into the stars, thinking one of these days I want to travel the world, crawling around in people's attics and basements and closets and drawers. I had ambitions actually in the field of journalism. I went to school at Syracuse University's Newhouse School of Journalism. And I figured that no matter what I decided to do at the ends in my career, that at least having a skill in writing would come in handy. And sure enough, and I also said to myself, I'll just share my life experience so it makes a difference with other people. And at the time, I had no idea that my subject would be clutter, but there was some wisdom as a young student at Syracuse that I would use those skills to make a difference for people in letting go of what they don't want, need, and use and love. And it's much more sophisticated than it sounds. It sounds mundane, your papers, your clothes, your stuff in your attic and garage. But actually, I take people on a journey from the mundane to the sublime as they let go of what they don't want, need, and use. So that's who I am. I'm a clutter consultant and a speaker and a writer and a creator of all things clutter. So there you go.
It's I know you have grandchildren. Do your grandchildren know what you do? Do they understand it?
No, I don't think so, especially since they're French speaking, and I don't know what the word is. I don't know what the word is for clutter in French, but eventually they'll understand it because they'll have enough of it on their own.
Well, that's true. That's true.
I'm an American citizen, but I'm married to a Belgian, so I decided to, all things being equal, if he got an American citizenship, I went and got Belgian citizenship. So I have dual citizenship.
That's great. I love that. I love international, and I think it's so important to get that scope, that worldwide scope, because other cultures, their perspective on clutter is always very different, so.
Well, because they have a tendency more to hand things down from generation to generation. Yes. The American kids today don't want any of your stuff. So you might think about, slimming down because they don't want your china and they don't want your dark wood furniture that you've had in the family for generations. Unlike they have more of a tendency to do that in Europe than they do here.
That's true. That's true. We are more of a disposable society. That's for sure. You have this great, I've been reading your book, and I'm going to show the book online. It's a great, well, you can get it on Amazon, hardcover, paperback. But you have this wonderful little exercise in here, a collage exercise. So what inspired you to do that exercise for your class, for your students, for your talk?
I like the idea of starting out whenever I come to somebody's door for the first time and for a clutter cleaning session, I begin with, what are you making room for? Because this is not an exercise in being neat and tidy, although you will get neat and tidy as you let go of what you don't want and need and use. You will get neater and tidier, but
Mhm,
it's not my driving goal. The
mhm.
driving goal is to know who you are, know where you want to go in life, and have no obstructions in the way of getting there. That is my clutter cleaning process. And in
Okay.
the process, you will handle papers and clothes and stuff in the attic and stuff in the basement. So a collage is hits at your subconscious. It's an opportunity to pull things from magazines, which you probably need to throw away anyway if you have any, and you've had them for a long time. But they're a great resource for images that may compel you to think of what you want next in your life. What are your goals financially, financially, career wise, relationship wise, family wise, whatever your goals in life are. So I like to start with that in mind because I want to develop people's appreciation for letting things go rather than their resistance to it. So once you have in mind what you're making room for in your life, with which collages helped to prompt you to think about, and you start to clean, there may not be a direct line between what starts to open up and happen in your life and what you're working on. I'll give you an example of that. I had a client who said she wanted to find the love of her life.
Hmm.
And we decided to start cleaning her clothes closet.
Okay.
Okay, so we start cleaning her clothes closet, and she gets an invitation to do a sabbatical, a teaching sabbatical in Australia from New York. So she goes to Australia and she meets her husband. Now, you might not think cleaning her closet had anything to do with that, but I invite people to suspend their disbelief because my assertion is there is a connection that once you move that energy out of and put it in alignment with what you're creating, watch and see what happens. And I invite people not to be so fast to judge what they're getting out of the clutter cleaning, to look and see beyond the stuff to what's happening in their lives. And time again, you'll see that what comes into the empty space you create is more, not less of what you want. And watch for those connections and watch and see how you'll, instead of avoiding cleaning your clutter, you'll actually seek it because of what it has to offer in the way of putting a serendipitous quality to your life.
That is such a fascinating story. I love the connection. I'm thinking, obviously you're changing the vibration in your life,
Yeah.
from one thing to the other.
Yes.
And then that, of course, is opening up, connecting with other vibrations and with her goal. But I can't imagine the conversation of having a clutter consultant come in to help you, and then you advising the goals, say, I mean, that your client advising the goal, saying, well, I'm looking for the love of my life. Like, how does that connection, how does that even come up with a clutter consultant? So I love that even came out,
You
that,
just suspend your disbelief
yeah, I love
and
that.
just start cleaning, your clutter, do the groundwork and watch and see what happens. And like I say, it becomes a game more than, a horror show.
I love that. I think I'm going to go clean out my closet right after this session here.
Did I ask you what you're making room for?
Yeah, what am I making room for? I'm going to have a little meditation on that one. So you have 7 principles that I wanted to go over because I just started reading about them. So we don't have to go through all of them, but the first one I love because I know after my husband passed away, that's what this is the first principle that I did. I handled one item at a time. That's your principle number one, is handle one item at a time. I broke it down into a list of, okay, I have X number of rooms in my house, and and then I broke down each room into a section. you know, a drawer, a closet, the top of the closet, the bottom of the closet, so that it wasn't so overwhelming.
Yeah.
Plus, you know, I was in an emotional state anyway, but you know, even if you're not, it's so much easier to spend 15, 20 minutes cleaning something than it is to have to take out a whole day or whatever. So I love that, you know, that handle one at a time. I think that that's a very, I think that's a great first way to start. So I would imagine that your clients appreciate that as principle number one.
Well, yeah, you know, it is like you said, overwhelming, but I want to point to something that you said about, 20 minutes at a time. If you can only do 20 minutes, that's better than nothing.
Right.
But I rather encourage people to schedule from 2 to 4 hours. Um,
Okay.
Cleaning clutter can, before you know it, time is going to pass. Like, whoa, how did I ever spend, 2 hours in that closet? It goes by pretty quickly. So,
True.
I'd rather have you take a block of time if you can, 2 to 4 hours. If you can only do 20 minutes or only do a half hour, then something is better than nothing. And what I mean by one item at a time, if you have a stack of papers, don't go to the middle of the pile or the bottom of the pile of those papers. Go one at a time from top to bottom.
Okay.
And really exercise that muscle of concentration.
Mm-hmm.
Part of the getting free from clutter skill that you'll attain is the ability to focus.
Mm-hmm.
So when you go into a closet, for example, go left to right, go in a organized way, one at a time, left to right through that closet, pulling out the things that don't fit, aren't in style, aren't the right climate for where you now moved, whatever the case may be. If you're not wearing it now for the season it is, for the size you really are, then remove it from the closet, and we're going to start putting it in a new direction, not in your closet where you go to get dressed every day. So yeah, some kind of systematic approach is one that I think helps um, get things done in an organized fashion, if you will.
Okay. How do you help someone then overcome the emotional attachment to that thing?
Well, I believe in dumping beliefs. One of the things you have to dump is not only stuff,
Uh-huh.
dump beliefs you have that are inconsistent with what you want to accomplish. If you have a belief that, oh, this was the most important day of my life, maybe there are things that are sentimental that you do want to keep, but
Yeah.
you have to be judicious about it because
Uh-huh.
um, you have to disengage yourself from the emotion, really. Take a picture of it, put it in a photo album. But
I say that
but
all the
do you
time.
really need that prom dress that you wore when you were 16 years old because you ended up marrying that man and he was the love of your life? Um, keep the sentiment in, your heart and in your memory and share the stories about it
Yeah.
more than the stuff. Now, I'm not saying that there's not room in people's lives um, for some sentimentality. It just has to be within reason because another, if you will, corollary to the clutter cleaning rules, if you will, is that you now I forget what I was going to say. is I forget what I was going to say about that. There is a corollary to some rule, but I don't have many rules, so that's good. I have the principles. You
Yeah,
know,
the principles are very
be
good.
guided by the principles more than rules. But I
Ex-
do want to say something about having cleaned as you did when you lost your husband. Is cleaning clutter is a very healing process.
It is.
Whether you've lost somebody or whether or not you had any kind of trauma or disappointment in your life that may have either caused the trouble, maybe an illness.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes people start getting cluttered after an illness, whatever that is.
Mm-hmm.
um, Getting yourself straightened out, so to speak, getting your environment and who you are now aligned with one another is a healing process.
It is. I agree. I mean, that really was the beginning of my healing after that because it was such a traumatic event. And yeah, I agree. I mean, it was difficult and I didn't do it by myself. I invited friends and family to
Oh,
help
very nice.
because it was so overwhelming. Um, I mean, as time went by, I was able to spend more than 15, 20 minutes, but initially I knew that I had to start, and initially I could only do that amount. But then it got easier and easier as time went by, but it took time. It definitely took time to do it.
Well, that's another thing people would benefit by adopting is the reality that it does take time. It didn't get there overnight and it may
Right.
not go overnight, but it's kind of like losing weight. You do it 1 pound at a time and
That's right.
you have to be patient because it happens over time.
Right.
And before you know it, not only will your environment, your home or your office change, but so will you. You won't be who you were when you started.
It's true. It's true. And I love that it gives you a sense of control, over what you can control, because obviously you can't control everything.
Funny enough is I have a different point of view on that, Esther, and
Okay,
that
tell me.
is that you get out of control.
Hmm.
You don't have to like hold on tight.
Oh,
You're freer.
right. Well,
And
true.
you're more flexible in life when you don't have the constraints of stuff.
Well, I agree. That part is, I agree. You're right. When you don't have those things tying you down, or weighing you down, not really tying you down, but weighing you down, emotionally, I think, and physically, really, for people who have just
Yeah, and
so much.
I don't want people to get me wrong. I'm not against stuff. I'm not a minimalist.
Right, right,
I'm
right.
I'm saying have what you want and you need and what's you know, beautiful.
Hmm.
But it's not a matter of minimalism. It's a matter of consciousness. It raises your consciousness that what's there is there deliberately because you put it there, not because you forgot or you don't want to deal with it and you don't want to confront it and it's confusing for you and you're not sure what to do with it. That confusion is clutter.
Yes,
So
yes,
you want to straighten yourself out of things. That's so I just think it makes you more present in life. And therefore in I can draw lines to real health benefits of it.
yeah,
Um, without, you say weighing you down, that emotional weight is not healthy.
no,
Um,
you're right.
and the dust of the things that you don't need or want, that's not healthy either. So it really it can be very literal that
It's true. The air quality in your home is altered.
I actually had an air conditioner guy come to do the annual maintenance on my air conditioner, and he said I didn't have to worry about cleaning all the vents because there was no dirt in my place. So I
Nice.
said, I don't know, is that true? So you might check with your air conditioner guy, it might save you some money.
Oh, I'm gonna have to check. I actually have an appointment next week, but I'll have to check. Another one of the principles that you said was principle number 3, where you talked about don't cover your tracks, where you say for the duration of your clutter cleaning process, keep areas that you've already cleared off grounds for more clutter. For example, if you clear a desktop, think of it as a violation to intrude upon that space.
Yeah.
So are you saying, once you clean it, keep it clean, don't go back or don't add things to it? What do you say?
During the period of time where you're going to what I call ground zero, and I don't mean the 9/11 ground zero. I mean where you could say you've covered your kitchen cabinets and your garage, you've covered all the bases, your
Okay.
closets, your garage, your attic, your basement, your kitchen, your desktop. When you move through all those spaces and you get it aligned with who you are and what you're doing, and there's not a lot of excess, there's not excess there, then you're going to go live your life, and you're going to have to there's no end to clutter. You're going to have to clean that closet come change of the season, or you know toss pots that become scratched, or glasses that become broken. You're going to have a life,
Mhm.
but The idea is during your initial period of cleaning, not to, if you clean that dining room table of the papers that you're using as a desktop, and you've cleaned that, exercise a muscle, if you will, to leave it that way until you go 100% through your house. Then, of course, you're going to get into a practice
Yeah.
of cleaning as you go. Clean when something gets scattered, that you rein it in and draw it back.
I love that.
It's a never ending process. Unfortunately, I like to rid people of the notion that there's ever an end to clutter. There isn't. You just develop an appreciation for keeping your environment and who you are aligned with one another.
Right, exactly, exactly. And you're right, it is never ending. But I think once you get into that mode or practice, maybe, I don't know what the word is, I think that it gets not ingrained, but it does become normal.
It becomes a way of life.
Yeah,
And right now I'm working on a project called Decluttering 55 plus.
I love
And
that.
this is specifically for people who have crossed the thresholds into upper adulthood. Let's call it that.
I
Upper
love that.
adulthood. I just made that up. And when I say there's never an end to it, you have certain needs as you're raising kids and busy with a career, and you have different needs as you may be planning to move or retire, or your kids empty the nest, and things change. So does your environment. So my Decluttering 55 plus work is for the baby boomer population to check in with themselves and see how cleaning clutter can help make changes you might want to be making. So I have a podcast and people can visit it because every week, every Friday, I drop a new episode where I'm talking with experts and authors and geeks about things that may confound or confuse people. I make a distinction between conventional clutter, which is papers, clothes, and stuff, your physical stuff, and next level clutter, which I direct that conversation toward the 55 plus audience. 55 next level clutter are areas of life that we're confused by or confounded by. And on my podcast, Decluttering 55 Plus with Michelle Passoff, I bring together resources who can help people sort out questions that they have about health or fitness or their digital technology, or gee, I'd love to tell my life story to my grandkids. How am I going to do that? That's a sort of clutter cleaning that you might not be obvious to everybody who's so used to it, meaning conventional clutter. It's the clutter that confounds or confronts us about where are we going to move next? What are we going to do after retirement? Getting my financial house in order so that I can afford retirement, taking care of my legal papers. Who wants to write a will? I don't want to roll over and die once I do that. So I'm not going to do it at all. No,
No,
it's going to free you up and make you stronger. And last but not least, and most confronting, is your funeral arrangements. Doing it while you're alive. Oh my God, why am I doing that? They'll take care of it when I'm dead. But leaving all that stuff for everybody when you're gone is a burden for them. And I'm urging people through my Decluttering 55 Plus podcast and a flip gift book that I'm publishing, and the self-help book is to create a legacy, not a mess.
I love that. And I encourage everyone to sign up, subscribe to that podcast, because I just started listening to it and it's wonderful. You really are doing a great job with that. And you're so right to move to expand that topic of clutter from just the stuff to everything else in life, and to include all of that. I love that. So you said you were working on a new book or a new
Yeah, I
update?
have a couple of books. I have
Oh,
I don't have
okay.
everything, right? I have a self-help book, which is Decluttering 55 Plus, Make Room for Matters. And that will take each of the next level clutter categories and go more in depth. Not it's meant to take these conversations out from under the table that we swept, or under the carpet where we swept it, and bring it into the light of day and address it, get the questions you have about it answered, so it clears things up and you're free to complete things and move on.
Okay.
So that's a self-help book, Decluttering 55 Plus, Make Room for What Matters. Then I'm doing an illustrated flip book that sits like a tent on your desk or dresser, and you can turn it over and leave it to the illustration that shows up for a day, a week, a month, but it's meant to prompt you. Like one of the illustrations might say, "You rest, you rust," and it shows two people exercising. And it reminds you to reset your exercise routine so that you stay healthy. I find that I have to exercise more as I age, not less,
Mhm.
to maintain your strength and your balance and your flexibility. So it's very important to do that. So the illustration will prompt you to do that. You know, something else will say, plan your meals. And it's an illustration of somebody with a calendar planning their meals.
What prompted you
So,
to create that flip book?
yeah, the flip is almost at the press, and you can look at it. It's called Decluttering 55 Plus, Wisdoms to Create a Legacy, Not a Mess. So there you have it. It will be coming out momentarily. So people should go to my website, www.decluttering55plus.com.
Okay.
They can sign up to join the community, going to the Let's Connect button and filling out a form. And I'll keep notifying you about the resources I'm coming out with that can help. You know, a lot of people don't want to ask for help. If you're not handling those photos and you're not handling that garage and you have 2,000,002 books, Esther,
I do.
and you want to get rid of them and you were not doing it, you did the smartest thing by inviting your friends to, help you.
Yeah,
If you need a photo manager, there's a whole field of professionals now called photo managers. If you need a financial consultant, there's financial funds. If you need, and a lot of these resources can be attained at reasonable prices. If price is something that stops you, don't stop there, because if you go through your local senior center,
mhm,
you might find that in fact they have weekly professionals that drop by for question and answer periods.
mhm.
You can go online and try less expensive resources than hiring an attorney to get your will done. You might say, "Oh, I don't have enough to leave anybody." Everybody, if you're living, I always say, unless you're a monk on top of a mountain, you have stuff that you're going to leave. So you might think about, well, where are those going to go? And the idea is that if you get help, you can get those things done.
Exactly. I mean, I think it is the kindest thing to do, to your family, friends, loved ones, is to have everything set up, as you said, your everything, your funeral arrangements, your will, your stories, whatever. And decluttering is really a process, of that. If you truly do love these people, you want to make things as easy as possible for them while they're going through this emotional loss, really, of
Yeah,
losing.
moreover, what does it give you while you're alive?
Exactly.
It gives you freedom. It gives you, you may not realize that the things you have in unfinished business is clutter.
Yeah.
And when you haven't finished that business, at some degree or another, it's weighing you down.
Yeah.
And weighing you down is actually a health hazard.
Mhm.
The things that weigh you down mentally and emotionally and spiritually have an impact on your vivacity, your vivaciousness. So I would think it gives you more aliveness. You're not gonna roll over and die because you write your will or you figure out your finances or you write your memoir. You're gonna become more alive, and you're gonna become more flexible. And all of those things are qualities of aging well. You're never going to get it all done. You're going to have to leave something for somebody to do. So make sure you assign who that person is, your healthcare surrogate or your financial surrogate, to make those decisions for you when you can't.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. The executors are exactly. You're right. And yes, I agree with you also about calling out for help. There's no shame in it. There's no,
Yeah.
people want to help you. Your friends and family want to help you. They just don't always know how. So by inviting them and telling them what you need, I mean, there's no better way. And it's a great way to really know who your true friends are as well. It's
Well, may surprise you, but have fun,
yeah,
doing. And like I said, keep your eye on the miracles that show up in the empty space you create,
yeah,
and be ready for change instead of resisting change. Engage it, get ahead of it, and cause it to happen rather than say, no, it's inevitable. Change is part of what life is all about. So if you want to resist it, it's only going to weigh on you in so many ways.
and compound, I think, it just rolls. Michelle, I think that's another book.
Mhm. It's coming. It's coming. Decluttering 55 plus will help make you stronger, more flexible, and enable you to have more fun and freedom as you age. And there's nothing like having get up and go. And when you're tied down, that's not going to get you there. So people come sign up on decluttering55plus.com for it's 55PLUS. They won't let you put a plus sign in the world of technology. So it's
I will.
decluttering55plus.com. Sign up. We'll tell you when the podcasts are coming. We'll tell you when there's seminars or webinars or who knows what I'm going to do as I travel down this path. I'm creating all the time. So, that'll keep you in touch and create a community rather than burying your head in the sand. Have that lunch with your guy or gal friends and talk about these things with one another.
Right. Be open about it. Yeah. And it's amazing when you are open yourself, how you allow other people then to be open with you back. It is a gift, really. Oh, Michelle, I want to thank you so much. This was wonderful talk. I can't wait. I encourage everybody to get this book. Can you see it? Yeah. Get this book and, of course, sign up onto the website and definitely listen to the podcast. She does an amazing job, and there's some wonderful people on there that she interviews. Michelle, thank you. I hope you have a beautiful day.
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate being here, and I look forward to being a part of all the community of the listeners. I'm available to you.
Thank you. I am honored to join it. I am.
Have
All right. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next
a
time.
great day. Bye now, Esther.
Bye.
That's it for today's episode of the Senior Safety Advice Podcast, helping you and your loved ones stay safe, independent, and informed. If you found this episode helpful, be sure to subscribe and share it with others who could benefit. For more expert tips and resources, visit seniorsafetyadvice.com. And remember, staying safe starts with staying informed. Until next time, take care and stay safe.